I think we are really getting blessed this year with some good remasters. We have hidden gems coming back with something like, say, Shadows of the Damned. That game is so much fun. And then we've been seeing Tomb Raider coming back into the spotlight with their remasters, and then more to come. From what I understand, the same crew that did that had their hand in remastering the Soul Reaver games. I never played these games. It's another one of those titles that I've only heard good things about. So getting a chance here to try them out for the first time is kind of a delight. But know too, if there are changes that a historical fan would notice, I probably won't notice because I don't have that history with these games. So if you see anything that I do not, let me know. Either way, I did have a good time trying Soul Reaver out. So for the purposes of this video, I only actually tried the first title. I never played these games, so I wanted to go right to the first, and since I would like to play them at some point, to play all of them, I figured I didn't want to spoil the second game for myself. There is something that I need to praise right out of the gate when it comes to this collection though. I absolutely love when remasters include additional behind the scenes like content for the player. This should be a requirement for all remasters going forward. I want everything and anything that you can package into that game that will make it even more content rich. Everything from deleted scenes, cutscenes, concept art, tech demos, trailers, interviews, and all of that stuff. All of this stuff allows the player to really appreciate the game, or games even more, and have it all in one convenient spot. This is usually stuff that you see with a Night Dive remaster, and I love seeing it here. You get outtakes, trailers, deleted levels, plenty of models, and concept art. A huge plus is to include all of this stuff. So being that I never really played Soul Reaver before, I didn't know what to expect going into this title. I'm like, is this an RPG, action game, more of an action-adventure, or something else entirely? This very much feels like a traditional action-adventure game. I love the grand nature the game has to it. The spaces feel big and larger than life, and all of this helps to really bring character to all of those areas. And yes, that really cool feature from the prior efforts from the Tomb Raider games is back too. You can switch between the old and new graphics. Again, another feature that every remaster should have as well. It gives the player more options, and that's always a good thing. So at the start, there is a lot of fighting and jumping. I really like how with the fighting, you do not have a weapon, at least at the start. You sort of need to use what you can in the environment to try and survive some of these encounters. The enemies you are fighting require them to be finished off by sucking out their souls, but you need to injure them first and then you can take them down and finally defeat them. What's cool is there's a few different ways to do this, like the vampires can be killed by impaling them, sunlight, and even getting them into fire. I like the sort of improvised nature to the combat, at least at the start. I kind of felt like Jackie Chan trying to use what I can in the environment as a weapon. I found some traditional weapons, and then even got to use a rock and then tossed an enemy into the fire. The platforming is good, and I like that you can grab onto ledges and even glide with your wings. I really like the music as well. Something I am beginning to see, and that is sort of a side comment with this, but some people have mentioned to me before saying that the Darksiders games have some inspiration from the Soul Reaver games, and I can kind of see that now that I've played this. And I love the Darksiders games, so now I found another part of them to love through playing this. Plus, I'm gaining that appreciation for Soul Reaver too. I do need to point out something else that I felt like was a bug or glitch. So there is an early part where you encounter the first Wraith. You need to move this block into a certain spot, and at one point you need to then flip it. The problem is that you've never done this until this spot. This is a teaching moment for the player. So I was stuck because I didn't know what to do. I actually went to a guide here on YouTube for an older version of the game, and then I figured out how to do it. After I flipped it once, then the prompt came up. So I think because that happened, this is a slight oversight or a tiny bug. If this is still in the game and hasn't been patched by the time you're seeing this video, for those of you who do not know how to do the flip, you need to then crouch and then interact with the block to flip it. That was my main issue I encountered. I really think we are in an era where remasters need to be provided with a certain level of care. I understand that they can be looked at as an easy cash-in. You're pretty much just putting out the same game out again, and for console players with better frame rates, resolution, sometimes with all the DLC depending on the game and stuff like that. But we also live in an era where there are companies that want to do the easy method, the easy way out, and don't provide us with anything good, and it's more of a lazy port. I think the division of Saber that is doing these ports are ones that we should really keep an eye out for. Earlier this year, they proved that they could deliver to the fanbase with the Tomb Raider remasters. And then whoever is in charge to greenlit those next set of remasters was smart. The first set was well received, and now we're going to get more. It's a bit confusing because just giving it just a glance, you would think that Crystal Dynamics are the ones doing this for Tomb Raider, but in fact that is not true. As I understand it, they currently have their hands in the new Perfect Dark, and then apparently they're making a new Tomb Raider game too. But something I have seen here with the Saber-based Tomb Raider stuff, and them doing Soul Reaver now, these guys are turning into almost another excellent porting crew, to really be praised for how much that they managed to do, kinda like how Night Dive manages to deliver a really good job on older games. Like, I don't care if it's Night Dive or Saber, but someone please, I know Embracer has the IP, but someone needs to do something for those Time Splitters games, I beg you. I know we got them re-released on the PSN, but we need a set like this with all the stuff packed in one collection. If this happens, I will probably buy it for every system I own. I say all this because I want to praise Saber mainly for their work that we've seen so far, and this is something to acknowledge, and it's something I want them to continue because they seem to be really good at it. For the time I spent with it for this video, I honestly really liked it. I honestly really liked what I had played. Like I said, I never played any of the Legacy of Kain games, nor the Soul Reaver titles, but this is an action-adventure title that seems like something special, just by what I have played. For this video, I only played the first game, I did not try the second one, and again, I did not beat the first game by the time of completing this video either. So even though I think this remaster does do a good job based on what I've played, maybe it all falls apart later in the game, and this entire video makes me look like a fool because of it. If I'm wrong, just correct me in the comments. I am beginning to see why people have such high praise for Soul Reaver, and yes, I do want to play it more. Even maybe the whole series at some point. Have you played Soul Reaver? Were you interested in this remaster? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.